are the biggest weight bullies in the UFC? Well, today, guys, we're going to be working that out. I've got fighters who I think are weight bullies all around the screen, and I'm going to drag and drop them into where I think they belong on this tier list. Obviously, S being basically the biggest weight bullies of all time. You know, they're just way bigger than any other guy in their division, and they've got a massive advantage going into fights. All the way down to the lower ones where I still think they're weight bullies, but to less of a degree. For example, they're smaller, or they're just not as big and strong, and their size is basically less impactful compared to the guys higher up the list. So yeah, I'm MMA Tizzer. Without further ado, let's get into this tier list video. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I thought this was a good one to make, so let's go. Starting off with, we're just going to go straight in. Alex Pereira is going in S tier. This guy is one of the biggest weight bullies we have ever seen in the UFC. At middleweight, this guy is huge. The fact he makes middleweight genuinely blows my mind. This guy is so good, so big. I think he's about 6'3", 6'4" maybe, and he's wet on the weigh-ins. He doesn't even look like he's gonna die. Like, you'll see a lot of guys in the UFC like barely make weight and they look very ill on the scales. He just looks like he looks like he's cutting weight, but he doesn't look like he's about to die, even though he probably feels like he is. And when he's in the cage the next day, when he's rehydrated, the guy is literally massive. He looks like a light heavyweight, like a big light heavyweight in the cage. Imagine him versus like one of the smaller middleweights. So imagine him versus Whitaker. I'm thinking he's like 5 inches taller than him nearly, and he's like even bigger than him still. So I can only imagine the power discrepancy would be absolutely insane. And yeah, he's got more power. In the clinch, he can bully his opponents, as we've seen. It helps him stuff takedowns against people who have superior wrestling to him, and it just means on the feet he's way more dangerous. Even though this guy already is top 3 strikers in the UFC, if not the top striker. And yeah, that's what I have to say about Pereira. Massive bully. Not complaining though, because he's a stand-up guy, so it doesn't really impact him as much as if he was a wrestler. But the fact that he's just stronger than anyone on the feet, it helps. But he does have one downside, and it does seem to affect his chin. He does have a bit of a glass chin at middleweight. He got folded by Adesanya in their rematch, and yeah, he looked like, good. Don't get me wrong, good shots by Adesanya, but I'm thinking maybe light heavyweight Pereira could have taken them a bit better, but I guess we'll never know. But at light heavyweight, the guy's looking even bigger, so it's pretty crazy. But yeah, Alex Pereira, S tier, without a doubt, one of the biggest weight bullies in the sport when he was fighting at middleweight. We move on. Davison Figueiredo. I'm going to put him in like high A. Actually, no, I'm putting him in A. This guy is the biggest flyweight ever, right? So he has to be in S tier, because I'm pretty sure this guy weighs 170 pounds, which is absolutely ridiculous considering he fights in the smallest weight class. The guy genuinely actually has to lose like 30% of his body weight, or just a crazy amount. And I don't know how he does it. I don't think he can do it anymore because he's older now, so it's harder to cut weight when you're older, which is why he's moving up to bantamweight supposedly. And yeah, you can really tell he looked very drained in his weight cuts. His last few performances were much poorer than his other ones, and part of that will be due to the fact that he's older, the weight cut's getting more, but this guy was always a bit bigger than his opponents. And where you could really see it, again, similar to Pereira, was the power discrepancy. Basically making up, if he had a lack of skill, his power would get him through fights, especially with punch power. He had basically way more punch power than anyone else he ever fought. And yeah, Davison Figueiredo, he was a weight bully. However, Brandon Moreno still had his number in the end, and the cuts were getting to him. You could tell his chin was he just didn't look well. You know what I mean? It was looking rough for Davison, affecting him much more than it was Pereira. But yeah, we move on. Khabib. Now, I'm putting Khabib in B tier, and the reason being is because Khabib was a weight bully, but not to the degree of any of these guys above him. And although it does really help him, because obviously when he's bigger and he's grappling, it's just, having a guy that's heavier lay on top of you, especially for like a long fight, because he did a lot of 5-round fights in the last basically third of his career. It's going to gas you out, it's going to tire you out, it's harder to escape positions, harder to get out of mount and stuff like that. And obviously he's going to be stronger than you on the ground too, so he can get wrist control easier, stuff like that, pass your guard more easily. So it really helped him out. However, in comparison to some of the other guys who are higher up, he isn't as big a weight bully. But, this guy's basically a welterweight, but he's not like he isn't even the biggest lightweight, so I can't put him any higher than here. But at the time, he was basically maybe the biggest lightweight, but times have changed and we've seen even more crazy weight cutting from then. So I'm not going to put Khabib any higher, but to some degree, he is a weight bully, but I'm not taking away from him because there's a lot of weight bullies in the UFC at the moment. And I'm not even saying it as a bad thing. To be honest, it's kind of impressive that these guys can cut this much weight, especially like Pereira and stuff. Like, to cut that much weight and still be that good is just really impressive, but unfortunate for the opponents. We move on. McGregor. Now, I'm talking about featherweight McGregor here. I'm putting him in C because he is quite a big featherweight. I mean, he's not very tall, but he had a massive power discrepancy over all his opponents, and also then featherweights were smaller. I swear they've got bigger, but if you look at all the guys he was fighting, he was bigger than all of them. They were all like 5'7", 5'6", and they weren't even that big. And I know Conor McGregor was skinny, but like he had like a bigger frame. It's kind of hard to explain. Like, it was like you could tell he had like his like bigger power. And I know he's like basically he's put on a lot of weight since, but he was kind of being a weight bully in some ways. Actually, I'm moving down to D, but again, his opponents were smaller. Then I'm pretty sure featherweights are bigger now. We've just got bigger dudes in that division. But yeah, I think he was kind of a weight bully at some points, and his power basically allowed him to basically beat people if they were trading on the feet. So yeah, McGregor, I think that's a fair place to put him. Top of D, yeah, I think that's fair. All right, we move on. Kamaru Usman. Now, Kamaru's going in C. Now, Kamaru, he isn't like a massive weight bully, but he's a pretty big welterweight. He's one of the biggest. But to be fair, doesn't really change his style because he just kind of holds people up against the fence. And I get that he's heavier, so it's going to help. But having said that, he does have good cardio, and his cardio would surely be damaged by the fact he cuts, but it wasn't. So this guy's just either really good at cutting weight, or he just has insane EPO cardio or something like that, which I'm obviously not discounting. Very possible. But yeah, he's a weight bully. Actually, yeah, he's going in low, but he is a weight bully, same level as Khabib, I'd say. And obviously being bigger allows him just to basically squash people against the side of the cage easier and hold people down. And yeah, especially against some of the smaller welterweights. Burns, former lightweight. Masvidal's not very big. He's a former lightweight too. So stuff like that really helps him. And yeah, Kamaru Usman, B-tier, slow, high C, about there. I think that's fair. We move on. Kennedy Nchukwu, he's going in A. This guy's a heavyweight in every sense of the matter. We're putting him in A. How this guy makes light heavyweight is pretty surprising to me. He's really, really big. He's got a really large frame. This guy is a weight bully, and he has no chin though. So I think his weight cut does actually destroy his chin. So that is like his Achilles heel. He just gets knocked out by literally any adversity. He has got an absolute glass chin. But this guy's usually got the strength and power, and he's also like 6'5", but he's not skinny, which is really weird. So like this guy's literally just a heavyweight. He looks like a heavyweight. If you showed someone a fight with him and he was fighting a heavyweight, you wouldn't even notice. He's bigger than actually a lot of heavyweights are. So yeah, he is a weight bully, but he does have a glass chin from the weight cut. So it's like he's got balanced basically, like he's in a video game. We move on. Another light heavyweight, Johnny Walker. Similar situation. This guy's basically, he's going to be a heavyweight in the next 2 years, I'm predicting. And he won't be able to make the cuts for too much longer. But like I said, it's a very similar situation. Stronger, bigger, more athletic. Way bigger than like every opponent he's faced, really. However, Johnny Walker does have a glass chin, but to be honest, I don't really think that's to do with the weight cuts, but it definitely won't help. So his terrible chin is basically worsened by depleting his body for like a week, basically. So yeah, it's not good for him, and he will. His coach John Kavanagh literally said he's going to end up at heavyweight in the next few years. So I believe that. I think the cuts will get to him, and soon we'll be seeing Johnny Walker in heavyweight because that's where he belongs. The guy's really big, and I think he beats a lot of heavyweights, to be honest. We move on. Jalen Turner, this guy's definitely going in S tier too. This guy must be one of the biggest lightweights ever. He's so tall. He's literally like nearly the same height as Chimaev. However, he literally has like no muscle density on his chest. He's got a very skinny chest. He's very skinny. He has really skinny legs too. And to be honest, I would put him higher, but he actually just doesn't really get much of an advantage from it. Like, he wilts so easily. I think it's to do with that. He just like literally can't like, he has no strength considering how big he is, and he gasses out really fast too. He does have punch power, but if you wrestle this guy, he'll literally gas in like 1 round. So it doesn't really help him that much. Fight at welterweight, bro. Like, what are you doing? You're just throwing your career at this point. It's just undamaging your body. But yeah, he is throwing his career at lightweight. I don't know why he does the cut. Must be really hard. And he's not really reaping the rewards of it, is he? He's losing to guys who are way smaller than him. So yeah, it's embarrassing for Jalen. He needs to turn that around and just get to welterweight. But again, he's not very good. He's gonna lose. So my recommendation is just retire Jalen and go and get a normal job. But yeah, you're a way believer, so you're going in A. We move on. Aljamain Sterling. Now, Aljamain's going in C. Yeah, Aljamain's going in C. The reason being, I know he's like heavy and he's like 175 out of camp or whatever. He's not like big, is he? He just gets kind of like overweight in his camp, like between camps. Like, he eats loads of food and he gets a belly and stuff, but he's not like a massive dude, like compared to like Johnny Walker or like even like Habib in lightweight. Like, he's not tall, he's pretty short, and in the cage he doesn't look that big. Like, he didn't really look bigger than O'Malley. So yeah, so that's why I'm putting him there. However, when he's grappling, it does give him a bit of advantage if he's bigger than his opponents, because obviously he's got a good jiu-jitsu and he's a wrestler. So yeah, but yeah, and he's got good cardio too somehow. So the weight cut clearly just doesn't bother him that much. But yeah, we move on. O'Malley, he's going in C as well. I think O'Malley is a weight bully. He's probably the biggest, like one of the biggest bantamweights. I think Corey Sandhagen's pretty big too. O'Malley's just really tall though, so yeah, it's kind of like the Jalen Turner situation, but obviously O'Malley seems to keep his chin. He's got a good chin and he's got decent cardio, so yeah, he can go 3 rounds pretty hard. He went a big 3 rounds with Peter Yan, and yeah, I think that's a fair place for O'Malley. Maybe McGregor should be C tier too. I don't know, it's kind of hard. McGregor's not really tall though, is he? And he's not like huge either, so yeah, and it doesn't really fit his style that much. But yeah, moving on, Islam Makhachev. I'm going to put him here just because his style really benefits of the fact he's bigger than everyone. So obviously if he was a striker, it wouldn't make as much difference, but the fact that obviously he's really got a wrestling heavy game plan. When he's bigger than people like Oliveira and Volk, it just means he's usually stronger than them, and when he gets in a good position, they find it harder to escape. And he's got strong punching power too. You know, this guy's a threat everywhere, and the fact he's big means he likes arm triangles. He's got pretty big arms, and he's strong, so his submission threat is really heightened. And yeah, he just seems to do well. This guy nearly dies on the scales. I've seen the behind the scenes footage. This guy genuinely like puts everything into his weight cut. The rehydration is really important for him. And yeah, I think Makhachev is a pretty big weight bully. I'm not taking away from him. I'm not really saying it's a bad thing. But yeah, you got to admit that the guy definitely has an advantage, especially against his smaller opponents like Volk. Like, he's got, walking in there, I'm pretty sure he was over 10 pounds heavier than Volk. So, or he at least will be in Abu Dhabi. I'm going to say at least 10 pounds heavier. So yeah, it's going to give him an advantage when they're grappling and stuff like that. But yeah, we move on. Khamzat Chimaev. Now, you guys probably saw this coming, and obviously I'm not talking about welterweight here. I'm talking about middleweight. This guy making welterweight is genuinely like amazing. Like, I can't believe he ever actually made it. And there is a bit of shadow on if he actually did ever make it without cheating, because I'm pretty sure he used a towel once, and like one other time it was a bit suspicious. But yeah, I mean, you know, we all know I think he missed weight by like over 7 pounds against Nate Diaz, but he did say a doctor told him to stop cutting weight, so we won't really ever know what happened there. It's all a bit shrouded in mystery and confusing, and I think the UFC kind of knew what they were doing, making him miss weight. I think they were trying to rebook the card and change it up last minute deliberately. But yeah, Khamzat Chimaev at welterweight is the biggest welterweight of all time. Dwarfs Gilbert Burns. Any small welterweight, he'll have a huge size and strength advantage. He must have been the strongest welterweight ever, bigger than Leon by a mile, and Leon's a big welterweight. And yeah, he's like 6'2", I think, and he's like a legit 6'2", and he's really strong too. And this guy literally just picked up all the welterweights that he fought and dunked them basically, except Gilbert. So yeah, so that shouldn't really come as a shock to anyone. Really benefits his game off extremely offensive wrestling. However, the caveat is that it does seem to hurt his cardio. He was looking very tired in the Gilbert fight, but other than that, just been really beneficial to him. And yeah, that is the tier list. So yeah, Hamzat Chimaev S tier, I think that's fair. Pereira S tier and Figueiredo S tier. Makachev, I guess you could make an argument that he's S tier, but other than that, I think the list is pretty fair. McGregor could be C tier though, I think. I don't know really where to put him. It's kind of hard, but he did kind of fight small people. So that is the end of the video, guys. I just want to thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this tier list. Haven't done one in ages. Let me know in the comments which tier lists you'd like to see next. And comment anyone down below that I've missed off this tier list. Obviously, couldn't fit every single weight bully in. And yeah, that's the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe.